It's another beautiful day in Kitsap County, Washington, and for those of you joining us, we want to take a moment to welcome you. Whether it be online or at home or maybe from your toaster, we are truly excited to welcome you to the one and only Afternoons. That's right, Afternoons with Ash Black, wholesome entertainment for the masses, featuring the best and brightest that Washington has to offer. So do us all a favor, and if you like what you see here this afternoon, or any afternoon, just like, follow, subscribe, and be magically teleported to my beautiful city, the one and only Bremerton, Washington. This afternoon, we're honored to be joined by a true advocate for the Roxy's legacy, a champion of the past, present, and future. Please welcome distinguished City Council member and Executive Director of the Roxy Theatre, Michael Goodnow. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you for coming on to our show. Michael, if you could share with us just a little bit, I've obviously known you for a little while, but I would like, if you could, to kind of help my audience connect with your connection to the Roxy Theatre. You've been the executive chairman of the Roxy for a while. Why don't you elaborate a little bit on your experience?
Yeah, so mine goes back probably more than 20 years ago, and just seeing the beautiful theater in disrepair and the marquee that was falling apart, and it was closed for years. It had been a church, been some different things, but I moved to Bremerton about 21 or so years ago, and it was just always this place that you would, wonder about and dream about, and what would it take to bring it back, and was involved in a movement to help bring it back that was started by another local community member. And but fast forwarding to 2018, I had a meeting with a developer about something else, and was able to get a tour of it during its restoration. And the following day, the operator, when it opened in 2018, had kind of reached out and just said that it was somebody I had kind of had a relationship with, and just said, "Hey, we're looking for somebody to open the theater." And I thought it sounded kind of cool, and it turned out to be. And we got it open, and kind of helped the connect the community. I have a lot of community connections. Actually, that's right around the time that I was started on city council as well. And so it was pretty exciting time within and early on too, as the employee of the operator, I also served on the board of directors for the nonprofit.
Sure.
And so I ran the Roxy for a while. That actually ran 10 theaters in the Puget Sound area, and that went up through COVID. And I kind of left that industry during COVID, and I was doing Main Street work in another city here in Kitsap. And but then there's the time that the board decided that they wanted to operate the theater themselves, and felt that they could move it forward faster, build more momentum. And so, I was brought on as sort of a interim to get it started, and then they asked me to stay on permanently. So,
when we talk about the Roxy, it's easy to refer to it as a landmark. I think that's an easy way to describe it. Obviously it was built in 1941. It's really become, kind of a symbol for our heritage here in this town, I think.
yeah.
If you think about the year that it was created, it's post-war. It's Americans coming home after defeating fascism across the globe, and celebrating families and growing that. And one of those things that they did at that time was to go to this amazing place downtown. It's been here for over 8 decades, and you mentioned that when you first were introduced to it, it was in quite a bit of disrepair. Why don't you talk to me about some of the milestones, that were in the history of the Roxy, a little bit of what you had to overcome after coming on, and kind of where it stands
Yeah.
today.
I'll go back even a little further. A couple of interesting things about the theater was that the mural behind concessions was taken in 1908 by Ashel Curtis, somewhat famous photographer in the area. If you ever drive out to Snoqualmie, you'll see I think it's Denny Creek, Ashel Curtis exit on the highway. When that was put in, it was the largest photo mural like in the West Coast. And so that, like I said, that even started years before. You kind of mentioned a sort of post-war, but it also opened right before Pearl Harbor happened, later that year. And I wanted to make a note. We were talked about the marquee and the how it lights up the sky and things like that. But there's actually panels with instructions on how to darken the theater so that when there were air raid issues, for the city, that there was places to go make sure that marquee was off and that it wasn't lighting up the night sky. Moving forward, a local developer, Southwest Group, restored the theater to a point, and then the nonprofit foundation, we've gone in and raised the money to put in air conditioning. The building never had air conditioning, had a swamp cooler. We've replaced half the seats. The seats are wider. They have more leg room. We removed some seats in order to do that, so we lost some seating. We are kind of still in the process of really building out some first-class sound and light for live stage performances. You had mentioned some stars, in the past, Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby have been on the stage, but just a few years ago, we had Brian Stokes Mitchell. He's a two-time Tony winner. People know him mostly from the Upstairs Neighbor on Frasier, or Leah Michelle's, one of Leah Michelle's gay dads on Glee. And we've been working to bring in, good entertainment and great film. Like right now, it's Oscar season, so we're making sure that we'll show all of the Best Picture nominees before the Oscars happen. Other milestones were probably, let me think. I mean, we've just done a lot of smaller upgrades too, and just try to maintain that. That's kind of where we're at now. There's still a little preservation, still a little restoration. One of the next projects we're going to be doing is the concession stand. A lot of people have memories of the concession stand. The theater, the ticketing and the concessions were all outside, and you got all that before you came in. And what people know as the concession stand was the smoking lounge.
Yeah.
So like civilized people in the 40s, you went inside and had a cigarette, kind of the opposite of where we've moved it to. So yeah.
Speaking of the concessions and those areas, do you have any insights to what it's going to take to? It's the Roxy Theatre, correct?
Yeah.
What it might take to get that going, and
Sure.
on the subject, I had read recently that lemon custard used to flow freely from the Roxy. It seems like the two should go hand in hand.
So if we can find a way to do that, we think we would love to. The state of Washington just approved us for a $50,000 grant for that. It's actually one of their programs is for historic theaters. So we competed with other historic theaters. We had asked for a bit more. We got $50,000, and that's a 50% match. So we'd have to spend, $100,000 on the work. And so some of that is targeted for the Roxy Theatre, which is the original name of the concession stand. And we'd like to develop it in a way with the new Quincy Square happening out on 4th Street, that it could be just a ready-to-go concession stand for any kind of events, community events that would be happening on the street. The lemon custard was soft serve, and we haven't found a vendor for it yet. A couple years in a row, we've brought in lemon, like a scoopable lemon custard. I think we've usually done it for like Blackberry Festival weekend,
Sure.
and it's been a hit. So, and the other things we want to do is with this grant particularly is the doors need to be replaced. They're beyond service, and they're heavy, noisy, maybe tricky to operate and things like that. And we want to have continue to bring in ADA modifications so that there's the push to open button, and we want to add a speaker device to the box office and things like that. So we can get that money from the state fund after we do the work. So we're actively launching into some fundraising and some grant writing now to make that happen. And so that's probably one of our next big challenges.
Yeah, I'd say, over the last, 10 years that I've been in Bremerton, some of the criticisms that were towards, what was going on up at the Roxy. I think a lot of folks don't realize that there was this giant transition going on between the former ownership and it, now being taken over by the Roxy Foundation, owned by the Roxy Foundation. And, so a lot of things are now being done to not just beautify the establishment, but to really reintroduce it to Bremerton as a Roxy under Roxy Theatre ownership,
Yeah.
I think it's important that people realize that, there's a lot of changes that need to be made that maybe were on the back burner during that transition, but, those are full steam ahead now. We have some exciting events coming up, I imagine. Why don't you tell me about the season ahead for the Roxy Theatre?
Oh my goodness. So we definitely have pretty much ongoing comedy nights. Let's see, later this month we have, through the Seattle International Comedy Competition, we've got John Ozale. He's been on television and things like that. We've got ongoing through Comedy in Kitsap, where a show called The Dope Show that they do almost monthly.
Yeah, I think you guys set up it's like one of those old Indian telegraph systems out front. It's smoke signals, right?
Yeah.
That's what I've been seeing coming from downtown.
I can neither confirm nor deny that, 'cause, nobody can smoke within 20 feet of the theater.
Yes, let's be responsible, Kitsap.
We just had a great jazz weekend. I'm working on something else that I can't talk about, but with one of the...
I assure you, Michael, no one watches the show. You can tell us.
Yeah. So I've got a meeting tomorrow with one of the jazz radio stations about possibly doing something with us. So yeah, things are looking good, and we're learning how to market ourselves, to the folks that are looking for the space. And,
Absolutely.
we want to find the right market, the right folks to attend. We're not looking to do, hardcore rock concerts, because of the building and the seats I just mentioned that we put in and things like that. We've got to find just kind of this sweet spot of what works in the facility and things like that.
But you're interested in being approached about that subject.
Absolutely. We're looking for all kinds of different things. We don't have a lot of backstage space, so we've done a good bit of children's theater. There's some theater groups that don't have theater space, so they do all their stuff and then they bring the show. We can't do big sets or touring, shows that need sets. But we've got a lot of seats. There's a couple of bigger performing arts places in Bremerton, and then there's maybe some smaller or bars and things like that do live music. So we're kind of that middle spot. So we're about 500 folks, and we're trying to get those audiences and connected with that type of music. We just did a Battle of the Bands, so we're also trying to build inroads with the local bands and local music community. One of the bands that participated is already interested in putting on their own show at the theater. So
Speaking of the shows and the events that are coming up, I don't think obviously any of that would be possible without your amazing staff, but also the help of local volunteers. I was wondering if you could take a moment to just, talk about the individuals that work for you.
Sure.
And, are able to keep the entertainment flowing here in Bremerton.
Yeah, I've got the best staff right now. There's such a good team. They take care of the theater. They take care of each other. They take care of me. I try to take care of them. But they just each bring some just great skills, great passion, whether it's, just this, whiz for technology, because, the theater, we're actually the most state-of-the-art theater in the area. We've got the only laser projector, the only Dolby 7.1 surround system. So we've definitely got a tech side. I don't know. Most people don't even know right now, though, we're downloading these movies, these big files, big movies. We download them, put them into the projector, and show the movie. I've got folks that help us. One employee is just so good at communicating about the movies with especially our members. We have a great movie club that it's very affordable and has great benefits and it's a great sense of community around cinema. And so that's great. But we're at a point where we still need more help. So volunteers are great for that. And so when we have larger crowds, we'd love to augment with volunteers. I can't keep so many people on staff because there's not enough hours in the week during movie showtimes. So that if we can bring in volunteers, it's great. And we've got some tech volunteers, and we've got some concessions volunteers, and we've got some other areas. I think I might have somebody who's going to help us with maintenance. But basically, literally any skill we could find a place for. And we're just kind of standing up a volunteer program. People can sign up on our website and just get involved. It's a great feeling. It feels good, especially to accomplish a great event that we pull it off hopefully without a problem, without a hitch, as they say, and so it can be real rewarding.
Well, here at Afternoons, we're actionable people, and we all believe that getting involved starts with just getting up and, volunteering your efforts towards something, hopefully something good, and that's what I definitely promote. But the Roxy is a great opportunity for someone to get involved. And I've gone out to the festivals over the years in different seasons. There's always something different going on. But none of these things would be possible if not for the people that give their time willingly and happily to, contribute to our lovely town. And that's what really makes it special because, at the end of the day, when we're congratulating those film winners or, walking that person out to their car, it wouldn't be possible without that contribution. And it's just so valuable at the Roxy, and really anywhere in Bremerton. But I definitely encourage our viewers, to start by getting up off your couch and getting involved somewhere. If maybe again you could share some of that information regarding and just what does a volunteer look like?
Yeah, well, a volunteer can look like anybody, and we've got folks that like to volunteer as a couple. We've got folks who will volunteer even with a kid, and we've got seniors who volunteer and younger folks. Some of the perks are you can usually watch a show, and so some people will specifically volunteer, especially for like our National Theatre program, which are these beautifully recorded stage productions from London that we show. So they help us get everybody in, get everybody situated, and then they get to grab a seat and maybe a popcorn and a pop and take in the show themselves. So maybe a senior on a little bit of a tighter budget's interested in doing something like that. But I also have some young folks. I've got volunteer right out of high school, who's just sort of interested in the theater production and the behind the scenes and that kind of stuff. And gets that, maybe wrapping up and storing chords after a concert still kind of applies, right?
Yeah.
It's all those pieces that happen to make that happen. So,
why don't you tell me about the future of the Roxy? Because it's not just a place on 4th Street. It really is a living, breathing entity. And I'm curious what the future of the Roxy looks like.
So, I mean, I would say that as kind of the first executive director, I'm trying to get it to becoming a sustainable organization. We're somewhat scraping by. No reason for panic, but definitely reason to support. And so we're trying to get to a place where we, have enough operating cash sort of to run, where we can maintain the building, we can insure the building. It's just some things have turned out to be pretty expensive. We keep hearing how prices on different things have gone up. So we just need to get to a little more, steady spot. And the way we imagine doing that is to continue to grow kind of the community of film lovers that come to the Roxy. But we're kind of supplementing also with live music, which has been the investment in sound and light. So we're doing okay. We're not, like I said, it's not crisis, but we definitely could use more community support to help us move into the future. But I think our vision, is just bringing some vibrant stuff that fits the size venue that we have, and bring some stuff to town that we haven't been seeing, or helping to elevate maybe some smaller stuff to the next level, that maybe the jump from, a smaller place to a larger place is not quite right. And we're kind of the right size for them on their ascent to stardom.
Yeah.
So,
Michael, where can folks find you if they want to reach out to you about the Roxy, and where can they get information about the Roxy?
Sure. You can get information on our website, roxybremerton.org. You can reach me at michael@roxybremerton.org. We're downtown in what is going to become Quincy Square, so that's construction's going to start this summer, but we're at 270 4th Street in downtown Bremerton.
Michael, thank you so much for being on our show today.
Absolutely, Ash. Thanks for having me. All right.
The Roxy Theatre isn't just a place on 4th Street. It's a living, breathing entity sustained by the love and support of its community. If today's journey through the Roxy's past, present, and future has ignited a spark within you, then I encourage you to take the next step. Whether it's volunteering your time, becoming a member, or simply attending a show, your involvement can truly make all the difference. So why wait? Reach out to the Roxy Theatre today and feel the heartbeat of downtown Bremerton. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to personally thank my friend, special guest, Executive Director of the Roxy Theatre and City Council member, Michael Goodnow, for joining us today. And of course, each and every one of our incredibly intelligent and attractive viewers out there, we see you. Click the link, subscribe, and just type Afternoons with Ash into your search bar and become a part of something truly special. Thanks again for watching. This is Afternoons. I'm Ash Black.